So in Hebrews 1, again, it says in verse 1, God who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds. So what happened here? The Father made the worlds through the Son. It's not a coincidence that he was a carpenter. So now we can understand what we're reading in Genesis 1:1, where it says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. Not only did he create the heaven and the earth, we can understand that. We can also understand in Genesis 1:26, where it says this, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Who is the us? The Father and the Son, the ones that were there in the beginning. The ones, again, he thought it not robbery to be equal to God. The ones who had authority and power. Notice you don't have three. And notice he's not going to be talking about angels, because we're not made in the image and the likeness of angels. We are the offspring of him. We are made in his image and his likeness. And it says in verse 27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. So one said it and the other did it. Let's go back to the book of John. So you only have two. You have the Father and you have the Son. And notice what the Lord says about the Father. This is John, the 10th chapter, the Gospel according to John, chapter 10 and verse 30. He says, I and my Father are one. Well, how are they one? They are on one accord. They are one. You have that Godhead. They make up a single Godhead. They are one. He said, I and my Father are one. Remember, this one was manifested in the flesh. He was God in the beginning, went to being man, and then went back to being God. Let's go to, and they understood what he was saying, because they said he was committing blasphemy. It said in verse 33, the Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, and because that thou being a man makest thyself God. He went on to tell them, isn't it written in your law, I said ye are gods? So he was talking about man, because we have the potential to be what he is. But in the beginning, you only had two. You had the Father and you had the Son. Okay, let's go to the book. Let's go to the book of Psalms. Let's go to Psalms. Actually, let's go to Proverbs. We'll go back to Psalms later. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs, the 30th chapter. Notice what's said here in the wise sayings here. It says in Proverbs 30:1, the words of Agur, it says, the words of Agur, the son of Jakeh, even the prophecy, the man spake unto Ethiel, even unto Ethiel, and he called. Surely I am more brutish than any man, and have not the understanding of a man. I neither learned wisdom, nor have the knowledge of the holy. Then he asks a question, who hath ascended up into heaven, or descended? Who hath gathered the wind in his fist? Who hath bound the waters in a garment? Who hath established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell? So what is his son's name? Well, what son is he referring to? Let's go and pick it up in Matthew, the 2nd chapter. Matthew 2, notice what's said here, because I read in John, his only begotten son. This is Matthew, the 2nd chapter, and verse 15. This is when Joseph is warned about them trying to kill Jesus. Him and his wife and his newborn son they flee into Egypt. And it says in verse 14, when he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. Well, who was the son he was referring to? We understand that Israel was in Egypt, but this is referring to the Lord. Let's pick it up in Luke, the 9th chapter. So what is his name? Well, let's pick it up in Luke, the 9th chapter, and see another example of him being referred to as son. Luke, the 9th chapter, and verse 35. This is at the transfiguration. I'll pick it up at verse 34. It says, while he thus spake, there came a cloud and overshadowed them, and they feared as they entered unto the cloud. And there came a voice out of the cloud saying, this is my beloved Son, hear him. Well, what is his name? Well, let's continue in Luke. And pick it up in Luke 1 and verse 31. Actually, verse 30. It says, and the angel said unto her, fear not, Mary. That's when he, at his, the annunciation of his birth, the Messiah's birth. It says, and the angel said unto her, fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shalt call his name Jesus. Now we know that's in English. We know in Hebrew it was some form of Joshua or Yahshua. Okay, something in that vein. Okay, and that was the name transliterated in English. So now, that's the name. But now, it's only two. Let's go to Psalm. Now let's go to Psalms, the 110th division, and see what the sweet psalmist David had to say. This is Psalms 110, and we'll pick it up at verse 1. Notice what it says. Now, this is the king. He's speaking, and he says this, the Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool. Who is that? The Father speaking to the Son. Same thing you saw that Moses recorded. Moses was not there, but he was recording the instance when he said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. Who was talking there? You had two. You had the Father and you had the Son. Now some will go to 1 John 5 and 7. Well, what about the three that bear record? Isn't that saying that there's a Trinity? No. If three and bear record in heaven doesn't say that. Let's show you that. And this is the last place. Revelation 1 and verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel and unto his servant John. Okay? So you have the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him. Okay? So he has revelation. So he's showing the world the Yah's salvation. He's showing the world Christ. This is the lamb. This is your sacrifice. This is how you're going to obtain salvation. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, because he came with a word for the world and showed the world how to serve the Most High. He said to show things unto his servants, things which will surely come to pass, and he sent and signified it by his angel. You got the angel in heaven with the Father and the Son, all bearing record. And then what they do, they give it to not the Roman, okay? Give it to an Israelite. That's how that goes. You only have two. You only have two. And with that, brothers and sisters, it's always my prayer that you were edified.